First quarter of 2023 is almost over, and it is time for me to review my goals. I thought I'd bring you along. Well, hi everyone. I'm Crystal from A Crystal Clear Life, where we focus on planning, organizing, and living a more simplified life. Today, I want to show you how I am tracking my goals in 2023. Now, over the past few years, I have tried a couple of different methods for tracking my goals, and this year, as usual, I am trying something new. I came across this idea while I was watching Stephanie on Squarid Plans. I'll leave a link to her 2023 goal setup up above. And I thought, if she can do that in a paper planner and make it look that pretty and still be that functional, I wonder if I could recreate that in a digital version. So that's what I've tried to do. So let's take a look at Stephanie's layout, and then I will show you how I created mine. Okay, so you can see here on Stephanie's layout, she uses a happy planner for her planning purposes, and she has simply here a goal page with some leaf decorations and the months of each quarter. This picture happens to be quarter 2 and quarter 3. She chooses 3 primary goals that she wants to work on for the for that quarter, and then she has them broken down by monthly activities, weekly activities, and daily activities. Okay. I liked the calmness of this page, and I liked very much the way that she had it organized, and I wanted to take on the challenge of recreating it in my digital OneNote notebook. So let's see what I did. Okay, so you can see here that I have created a page that is very similar to Stephanie's, but there are some differences. One thing is Stephanie has chosen 3 goals to work on for each quarter. I tend to like to see all of the goals and all of my areas of focus that I'm working on at the same time. Some of those may be very active goals for that particular quarter, and some of them may be maintenance goals, but I like to look at them over and over again so that I don't forget them. Okay? All right. So many of you remember way back in January when I went through my Moxie Live Compass. Again, I'll leave a link to the video up above if you would like to check that out. But the Moxie Live Compass really helps you determine how satisfied you are with your life in 8 different areas. And then from those areas, you can choose goals to work on. And help improve your score in those particular life areas. It's very similar to the level 10 life if you are familiar with that as well. So let's take a look at what I've done here. Okay, so when you look at my page, you see I have my standard notebook background, which I created in PowerPoint. And I just kind of like that to give me a framework for an area to work in my planner. And you'll see here that I put some very simplistic leaf stickers here in the corner, much like Stephanie did in hers. And I picked kind of a funky, bold font for my January through March for quarter 1. Again, just like Stephanie, because I was really trying to make it, look similar to hers. Then in her picture, she had quarter 1 in a big circle at the side. So I did something very similar. I also put some black and white washi tape there just because I wanted to emphasize the black and whiteness of my planner for this year. All right. Now, Stephanie had these really cute boxes that went down the side, and that was a place that she could put her goals in. Here's a picture of her first quarter with her goals filled out. So you can see she has her goals written in there, and then she has like a monthly activity, a weekly activity, and a daily activity to break it down for her. I don't need to break it down like that because I'm already in the habit of doing that kind of breaking down. And so I really wanted to just have a place here where I could track my progress for my particular goals. Okay. So like I said, another difference that I have is I want to have all 8 of my goals right here in front of me for the first quarter. Okay. Now, if you've watched me in the past, you've heard me say that I have about 12 areas of focus that I create goals for, and that's true. But in this particular example, I have combined some of those. So, for example, let's look at this one right here, personal relationships. I have taken my spouse, my immediate family, and my friends' activities, those three areas, and combine them into personal relationships. Okay? All right. So let's zoom in a little bit here and we will look at the professional aspects for a crystal clear life. There's a few things that I wanted to talk to you about in this particular section. Okay. Now, what I did to set this up is, again, I was trying to do very much what Stephanie did, and she put a sticker down and then wrote on top of it. Okay. So you can see right here, if I move this text box out of the way, that I have a purple sticker. It's a very light color. It's like a post-it note kind of sticker, okay? So I put that sticker down in my planner, and then I created a text box over the top of it, just like that, so that I could have that same kind of look, okay? Now, there is an easier way to do that and to keep those things together. So let me jump over to a clean space and I will show you an easier way to do that. Okay, I'm jumping over here to my working area of quarter two to show you what I'm talking about. All right, so let's look at personal relationships right here. Again, I have a sticker, so it's a graphic. You can see by the dashed and dotted lines around here. And I have a text box, all right? Now, those two things can get separated and moved apart. There is not a way in OneNote to link those items together or to lock them together, okay? But you can get around that by doing the following. You know how I love my tables, right? Well, let's go up here to the Insert menu and to the drop down for table, and it says add a table, and this time I'm only going to do a 1 column by 1 column table. So there's our table. Okay. Now, if I take this information for personal items, and I'm just going to copy that just to save time here, and I'm going to go over here and click in this one cell table, and I'm going to paste that in there. Now you see I have all of that information listed in that one cell, okay? Now, another great thing about using tables is you can do table shading. So let's go up here to table, down to shading, and let's choose, oh, I don't know that I can get the exact color, but a pink color. It's close enough for me, okay? All right, so now I have this box. That is a 1 column table, and it is shaded in pink. Now, it does have that box around the outside. If you want to get rid of that, you can. Simply go back to your table menu and say Hide Borders, and that takes that border away. And now you have something that looks almost exactly like this creation here, which is 2 parts, and this one is 1. The great thing about doing it in a table is if I go in and add more information, the table and the color format behind it will just continue to grow. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So if I go in here after number 3 and I add something for number 4, like, call my sister, and number 5, and so on, you see that that table section gets bigger and bigger and bigger, okay? So I think that's absolutely great. That's a quick and easy way to do that. All right. Which way is the correct way? Either way that works for you. It doesn't really matter. If you have a set of stickers that you like and you just want to add the text boxes on the front, that's great. If you want to create that single cell table and do it that way, that's absolutely fine too. Okay? All right. Let's go back and look at the rest of my first quarter goals. Okay, now when I was playing around over here adding things into my table, you see that a few things got shifted on my original quarter one layout here. Let me show you a quick way to fix that. Now I could go in and I could select and hold down the control key and select and select all of these things across, and it would do that, and that would work. Or I could go up to my draw menu, and I could choose the lasso, and I could select all of those things, and that would work too. Another way to do that, though, which is really, I think, quick and easy, is to take your cursor and to go up here in the corner, click and hold down your cursor, and you see how it starts to draw that box. And you see I can drag it across to the whole end of my page, and notice how that everything that was in that box is selected. And then all I have to do is move them up to where I want them to be and let them go. And they all move at the same time. Okay? That's a really quick and easy way to do that. It seems like that's what I'm showing you today, are quick and easy solutions. All right, let's look back up here at the professional goals for Crystal Clear Life. My goal for this quarter is to reach 1,000 subscribers. I didn't think when I started this YouTube channel that I would get 100 subscribers, but as I am getting closer to 1,000, I am kind of motivated now to keep going to try to get to that 1,000 mark. So that is my goal by the end of March. We'll see how we're doing. But let's jump over here to this little table right next to where my goal is. And you see I have for quarter one, and I've broken it down by January, February, and March. And I also have a link to my CCL analytics up here. And this is a maintenance goal for me. Every morning I sit down and I record my numbers for how I'm doing for Crystal Clear Life. Let me jump over and show you where that link takes us. Okay, so when you get over here to my 2023 yearly stats, you can see that each month I record my subscribers, my views, my watch time, my Instagram followers, etc., etc. And down here at the bottom, I simply go down to the bottom of the list. And at the end of January, I had 874. At the end of February, I had 949. And so far in March, I have 963. Okay, so that's really how I'm tracking my progress for this particular goal. So when you look here, you see I have 874 and I have 949. And, hopefully by the end of March, I'll be able to say that I have reached 1,000. If not, I will be very close and that will make me happy. Okay. All right, another thing that I have here for one of my goals is to film and publish one video a week. All right. And so if you look here where it says weekly video release on Fridays and one QT, which is a quick tip a month. And you see I have a link here also to January. If I click on that link, that takes you to the page where I do kind of my editorial planning and that kind of thing. So here for January, you can see on my calendar that I actually published a video on the 6th, on the 13th, on the 20th, and on the 27th, okay? So of the 4 Fridays that I had to do a video, I published something. So I also have a quick tip listed here on Tuesday. Well, you can see here, I have a quick way of tracking that goal as well, okay? All right. So that's just a great way to be able to track, what you're doing and to have links to those pages that you would like to do. Now, let's go ahead and set up a link for the month of March. So what I do is I come to my Crystal Clear Life notebook and I take this monthly format that I have here and I'm simply going to make a copy of it and I'm going to leave it in this same section. And it's going to put it down here at the bottom. I'm going to drag that up and I'm going to rename that March of 2023. Now I know I need to come in and clean all that up. That's not what I'm worried about today. What I want to do is I want to copy a link to this page and I'm going to go back to my goals page and I am going to highlight the word March and I'm going to say insert a link and I'm going to paste the address for that particular page and I'm going to say OK. Now, when I click on that link, it will take me to that brand new page that we just created. That, yes, I know I need to fix it for March. So let's change this to March. And I will come in here simply and clean up all of this information, replace this calendar with a calendar for March, and I will be good to go from there. And I can keep track of all of my check boxes and all of that kind of thing as I am going through and filming and editing and all of that kind of stuff. Okay? All right, so back to our goals. So that's one way to track them, is to keep analytics on another page and to go to that page, link to that page, and then be able to check what you're doing there. Okay? All right. Another thing that I've been working on this year is my personal relationships. I want to have a monthly game night with some friends of mine, and I want to have a weekly date night with my husband, and I want to have a friend meetup once a month. Okay. And so you can see here again that this is an active goal. This is something I'm actively pursuing and trying to get better at. Because of the pandemic, I've been a little concerned about going out and being with people, but I'm trying to get over that. I'm still wearing my mask and all of those kinds of things because I have a lot of health issues, but I do want to get out and see people. So what I've been doing here is I made a list of, when I was out and about seeing people, and I write the dates down there. And I've been tracking my progress that way. Okay. So I can see right off the bat that I'm doing pretty well on this goal so far this year. Okay. All right. Moving on to health and fitness. One of my goals is to have an average of 8,000 steps daily. And when you look at the entire month, I'd like to have an average. Sometimes I get 12,000 steps. Sometimes I only get 3 or 4. So what I'm shooting for is an average there. Okay. All right. And that is something that I get from my Garmin watch, and it tracks all that information for me. And so you see in January, my average steps were 5,439 was my average for January. Very cold outside. I do a lot of walking inside and that kind of thing, but didn't quite hit my goal for the month of January. When February came along, my goal average went down. You see it dropped to 47. So I have that highlighted in red so that when I look at this page, I go, you know what, girl, you need to move more. I also made a note there that I was having some problems with the charging connector for my watch. So it was taking longer to charge than it should. And, like the other day, I went for a 2.5 mile walk and left my watch laying on the counter because it wasn't charged and ready to go. So I missed those steps, but I do know that I want to, continue working to walk more and more and more. All right. Okay. Let's see. Down here for personal growth, again, I have another link to my 365-day reading challenge. So when I click on that, it goes to my reading challenge for this year. And this is where I've been tracking all of the books that I've been reading. And so that's working out pretty well. I like to track that. Again, I don't have a goal for the number of books that I want to read. I just want to be able to say that I've read something every day. All right. Another goal for personal growth is doing my weekly review, my planning weekly review every week. And I have been doing pretty well at that. In January, I did 4 out of 4 weekly reviews because I do them every Friday. And in February, I did 5 out of 5. And in March, it's early in March, so I've only done 1 out of 5 so far. But I am on track to do that. Okay, because I feel lost if I don't do my weekly reviews. All right. For creativity over here, I have Sarah's quilt. And again, you see that as a link. And if I click on that, it will take you to the link page. This is what her quilt is going to look something like when I am finished. And I have been tracking all of the steps and keeping track of when I do things here. Okay, so that's great. That just really, helps keep me motivated and on track. Another thing that I'm working on is a little bunny table runner. And again, I have that listed here as activity number 2 or goal number 2. So when you see the number 2 on this side, it says applique umbrella and tulips. And I did that on the 25th of February. So moving along with those particular things. My finance goals are pretty much maintenance goals. I log my weekly expenses every Friday when I do my updates. And then at the end of the month, I take all that information and put it in my finance dashboard so I can keep track of how much money I'm spending in each category. Okay. And that's been working really, really well. Okay. Home environment. Here we go. That basement clean out that I procrastinated all last year, well, I procrastinated all through January as well. And so for January, I wrote procrastination continues because, yeah, that's what I'm doing. But in February, I said, nope, I have got to get on this. So I went down and reorganized all the Christmas tubs and put them away in their proper location. So that was very good. And I started reorganizing and decluttering the pantry. There were some things that had expired that went in the trash can, and there were some kitchen appliances in that pantry item that we no longer need, so they have been donated. And so it feels really good to be down there and do that. But while I was down there, there is some dust, and I did end up with an allergic reaction. So I need to remember to wear my mask when I go downstairs to work, which I am supposed to do anyway, but sometimes you just forget and you get eager and you say, I'm going to do this just for a few minutes, and then you realize that you're down there longer than you think. Anyway, I am making progress, and I will tell you, it does feel good to make progress on those kinds of goals. So I'm happy about that. Last one is in the garden. Really, what I have for my garden tasks is I list those things on my monthly dashboard. So again, I put a link here for my January garden checklist. Let's go look at that. So in January, here is on my dashboard my garden checklist to do. And you see I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tasks that I must get done in January for this year. The rest of these items are things that could be done during this time period if I really wanted to do them. So of the 5 things that I have listed, I got 4 of them done. So when you look back at my progress for January, you will see that I got 4 of my 5 garden tasks done. Let's look at February. For February, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 tasks that I wanted to do, and I did 8 of those. I did not spray the fruit trees with dormant oil. Actually, that's my husband's job, and he has not had a chance to do that yet. I have pulled some visible weeds, but not all of them, and I have been pulling up that ivy that's out front, but it is everywhere in this little tiny patch of the front garden, and I have not gotten it all out yet, so I could not give myself a check for that because it is not complete, okay? So when you look back at my progress, you will see that I completed 9 of my 11 tasks, okay? All right, and again, let me show you how to do that for March. So what I'm going to do here in my 2023 Life Planner is I'm going to go over to March, and I'm going to go to my dashboard, and up here is my little section for in the garden. I'm going to highlight that whole container, okay? And then when I right click on that container, I can go down here that says copy link to paragraph, all right? And then I'm going to go back to my goals page, and I am going to highlight this March checklist, and I'm going to go up to insert link, and it's going to ask me for the address of what I want to link to. So I will paste that in there, and I will say okay. Okay. Now you see that it turns that garden checklist for March into a link. When I click on that link, it takes me and highlights the exact area that I need to see on my March dashboard. Okay, so you see here on the March dashboard, I have already completed 2 of the many tasks that I have to do. So I am making progress on that goal, and that feels good to me. Okay. So, what I wanted to really talk to you about today is a few things. One, I wanted to show you that sometimes if you see a great idea that somebody has done in their paper planner, you could recreate the same thing in your digital planner, which I think is pretty cool. And I will link Stephanie's original video below so that you can check that out. She is a very creative person and does wonderful things in her planner, and I always get lots of great ideas from her. So I will link that for you. I also wanted to show you some different ways that you can create this same kind of look. So, for example, over here, remember we used a graphic and a text box, or you could use a one-celled table and kind of get that exact same look. The one-celled table really holds everything together for you, so that's really a good idea, but the graphic and the text box really limits you to the size that you're using. Okay, so if you want your page to stay, beautiful and perfect all the time, maybe that's the way you want to go. There's no right or wrong way. It's just whatever works for you. Okay. I also wanted to show you how to add links to those important pages for tracking, and I wanted to give you a couple of ideas of different ways to track things. The way that I am tracking my progress is very different than what Stephanie did in her video. But again, you have to do what works the best for you, okay? So in my progress bars, you see sometimes it says progress number, meaning I'm doing a count of things, or it might be a progress date when I actually worked on that activity and I'm moving that project along, to the next level, okay? Well, what I wanted to say for quarter number two is as I have been, thinking about what's coming up for the spring, I've been making little lists in here. Like I know that I have a birthday trip coming up. I want to keep that in mind for personal growth section. I have a conference that we'll be attending. And then for the home environment, I want to start looking at the dining room and the library. I need new flooring on the main level, so I've kind of been looking at what I want to do for that. And I also have a wooden secretary that I want to paint that's going up into the bedroom. So this is just another place for me to keep goals of things that I want to work on that I know have a specific time. They're not on my someday maybe list. They're going to get done. And so I just kind of want to keep them on my active goals list for the year. And in this case, it's quarter number two. I know the main flooring won't get done in quarter number two, but I can start thinking about it and creating a project plan and all of that kind of thing. Okay? All right, well, I hope you learned something new today or you got inspired to find another way to kind of track your own goals. And I think when you write goals down and you track your progress, you are much more motivated to get things done. And hopefully this has helped you in some way. If so, please go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Hit that like button. Think about subscribing if you haven't already. Maybe share it with somebody who is working on some goal setting or wants to learn more about OneNote. And until next time, here's hoping that you can live a more organized and simplified life through better planning. I use OneNote. Until next time, okay, bye.